Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we all are audible now.
Yes, sir.
सभी को मेरी
Now
आवाज आ
audible.
रही है? Okay,
Yes, sir. अब आ रही है.
okay. So, so now I'm going to start the session. Yeah, I think we all are connected now. Most of us are connected now. So I'm just going to start the session. Okay, so before going to start, today we will discuss the topic basically the telnet and SDFC protocol basically. Yeah. So today we will deal with the telnet and SDFC protocol. Earlier I have told you about the telnet basically. That is the very fundamental protocol that is used to access to the remote login. Yeah. So if someone want to means you can say anyone want to connect with the remote logging means remote logging access अगर करना चाह रहे हैं then you need to connect with the you can say telnet is required. Clear? So I'm just sharing a file. Just wait. I'm just sharing with the file. Okay. So am I audible now properly? Am I audible to all of you now? Class. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just sharing a file. Just wait. So is it visible to all of you now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we talk about the telnet, clear? It is exactly you can say a tele-type network basically, clear? Where the TCP protocols make it possible to connect the remote computers. Okay. So the telnet protocols makes it possible to use them. Clear? Then if we talk about now the protocols, so it offers a user the possibility to connect and log on to any other host in the network. Yeah. So basically इसमें जब भी हम communication करते हैं we generally use the virtual terminal. Yeah. So एक आपने term सुना होगा NVT. NVT is what? That is the network virtual terminal. So that is responsible to connect the remote server with the host. Clear? So exactly क्या होता है कि दोनों connect होते हैं but they don't know about each other. उनको एक दूसरे के बारे में पता नहीं होता. Clear? So एक तरह से virtual terminal से connected होते हैं. They are linked with the virtual terminal, so they are not having the exact interfacing between each of them. They are virtually connected, so they don't know each other information. Clear? So the telnet protocol offers the user the possibility to connect and log on to any other host in the network from user's own computer by offering a remote log on capability. Clear? Historically, telnet was the first TCP/IP application and still is widely used as a terminal emulator. Today, while the applications are more and more equipped with the graphical user interface, So you can say the terminal based applications are becoming minority among the applications. Clear? So the telnet has found its future as a toolkit lying below several client server software, like example of लें हम अगर तो FTP, SMTP, SNMP, NNNTP, HTTP are more or less dependent on the telnet protocol. Clear? So basically जो remote logging होता है that belong to the telnet exactly. Clear? So telnet basically belong to the remote logging. Clear? A remote access. All of you are getting my voice properly now? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now telnet model की अगर हम बात करें, you can see we have a telnet model. Clear? So this diagram is the lower diagram that you can see. That is the telnet protocol model basically. Clear? Now इसके बारे में अगर हम बात करें तो for the connections telnet uses the TCP protocol. This is very important. तो जो हमारा telnet होता है वो TCP protocol को यूज करता है. The telnet service is offered in the host machine's TCP port 23. Clear? So this is the TCP port 23 exactly. That is the host machine's port that telnet service exactly takes. Clear? And the user at the terminal interacts with the local telnet client. Clear? Now, the telnet client acts as a terminal accepting any keystrokes from the keyboard, interpreting them, and display the output on the screen. So telnet client exactly क्या act as a कैसे काम करता है as a terminal accepting any keystrokes from the keyboard, interpreting them, and display the output on the screen. So the client on the computer makes the TCP connection to the host machines, port 23. Clear? एक TCP connection बनाएगा to the host machines port 23, where the telnet server answers, the telnet server interacts with applications in the host machine and assist in the terminal emulation. So you can see this is the prototype of this. So we have a user terminal that interact with the terminal telnet client. Clear? Through some interfacing. Clear? Means it just giving the instruction or command to the telnet client. Clear? Then we have a TCP connection between these two. That is between telnet client and telnet server. Clear? You can see. Then telnet server is belonging to the application basically. That is deal with that. So this is basic model of that. So each of the exactly ये हमारा full duplex communication को support करता है. So in both way the data may transmit and receive. So there is a both way communication or two-way communication. Clear? Between telnet client and telnet server. So as the connection is set up, so we talk about the connection. The both ends of the telnet connections are assumed to be originated and terminated at the network virtual terminal. Here, so I think you all are understanding the concept of network virtual terminal.
Yes, sir.
Is there any doubt related to NVT? NVT is exactly what? This is the network virtual terminal, basically. Clear? So, the both ends of the telnet connections are assumed to be originated and terminated at the network virtual terminal. So, NVT is a network wide terminal which is host independent. So, एक point इसमें देखिए बहुत important है, mention है कि NVT क्या होता है? Is a network wide terminal which is a host independent. Host से dependent नहीं होता है, so that both the server and the client in the connection may not need to keep any information about each other's terminal characteristics as both sees each other as a NVT terminal. अभी मैंने आपको just थोड़ी देर पहले बताया था कि they are virtually connected, so any one of them doesn't know any information about each other. अभी जस्ट पहले मैंने बताया था, क्योंकि वो एनबीटी टर्मिनल से कनेक्टेड होते हैं, एंड दैट इज द वर्चुअल टर्मिनल. Clear? Network virtual terminal, that is not the actual terminal. So both host and you can say host at the client side and the server doesn't know about each other. Clear? So, as there are several types of terminals which may be able to provide additional services from those provided by the NBT. So the Telnet protocols contains a negotiation method for the user and the server to negotiate changes to the terminal provided in the NBT. Clear? So typically the client and the server stays in the NBT just as long as it takes to negotiate some terminal type to emulate it. Clear? Now, if we talk about the options, clear? So the telnet has a set of options, and these options can be negotiated through a simple protocol inside the telnet. So the negotiation protocols contains command to, will, won't and don't. So ये सब commands हैं जो कि यूज होती है negotiations के लिए. Following example present the accepted command sequences. So will का मतलब होता है receiver acknowledge. रिसीवर एक्नॉलेजेस करता है, देन विल इंस्ट्रक्शन इज यूज्ड. डू का मतलब होता है सेंडर वांट्स रिसीवर टू एनेबल द ऑप्शन. वोंट का मतलब होता है रिसीवर विल नॉट एक्नॉलेज द रिक्वेस्ट. विल का मतलब होता है सेंडर वांट टू एनेबल द ऑप्शन. डू का मतलब होता है रिसीवर गिव्स परमिशंस. विल का मतलब होता है सेंडर वांट्स टू एनेबल द ऑप्शन. डोंट का मतलब होता है रिसीवर डोंट सॉरी डज नॉट गिव परमिशन टू डू सो. वांट इज व्हाट सेंडर वांट टू डिसेबल ऑप्शन. Don't का मतलब receiver has to answer okay. So don't is again we have sender want receiver to disable option. Won't का मतलब receiver must say okay. So this is what the exchanging of the commands. Clear? So mostly the options are used in the beginning of the connections to set up a desired setup of options for the telnet. तो जो भी ये options हैं ये connection begin होने से पहले ही हमारे सेटअप हो जाते हैं. ठीक है. So in some cases the options are changed during the session. The key options to be negotiated is the terminal type. So the symmetry in the negotiation protocol indicates that some loops are possible without any further restrictions. Clear? So the following sequences could take place. So following sequences could take place. So do terminal type VT100, will terminal type that is virtual terminal that is 100, do terminal type that is virtual terminal is 100. So for this situation and similar situation, the protocol introduces set of rules. So these are some set of rules you can see. So parties may only request a change in the option if a party receives a request, enter some mode that is already in, the request should not be acknowledged. If the option attack affects the way, clear? Class, all of you are understanding the concept now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So exactly, मैं थोड़ा सा आपको फिर से एक ओवरव्यू दे देता हूँ. Then we again start the ओके. सो जो हमारा जैसे आप लोगों को मैंने बताया कि टेलनेट बेसिकली क्या होता है. टेलनेट हमारा रिमोट लॉगिन से एक्सेस करने के लिए यूज होता है. क्लियर? दिस यूजेस जो बहुत फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चंस हैं दैट आई कवर विद दिस. सो इट एग्जैक्टली यूजेस द टीसीपी कनेक्शन. सबसे पहले आपको ये ध्यान रखना है इट इज एग्जैक्टली बिलोंग टू द टीसीपी कनेक्शन. क्लियर? सो जब टीसीपी कनेक्शन इस्टेब्लिश होता है उससे पहले कुछ ऑप्शंस हैं दैट इज यूज, जो भी मैं आपको बता रहा था. ठीक है. तो ऑप्शंस यूज होते हैं जो कमांड के फॉर्म में अभी हम आपको दिखा रहे थे, that is used as a command. Clear? So just I show you again. So you can see these are the options that parties may use to request and acknowledge. So these are the options. Clear? So the telnet has a set of options, and these options can be negotiated through a simple protocol inside the telnet. telnet के अंदर ही एक प्रोटोकॉल होता है जो हमारा ये ऑप्शंस को यूज करता है, ठीक है. So the negotiation protocol contains command that is called the negotiation protocol, which contains the command do, will, won't and don't. यही चार कमांड्स होते हैं जो वो यूज करता है. इसी के बेसिस पे द इंफॉर्मेशन और द डेटा में एक्सचेंज. सो यू कैन सी डू, डोंट, विल, डू, यही सारे हमारे कमांड्स हैं. क्लियर? हाँ, तो मैं थर्ड पॉइंट की बात करूँ तो ये द ऑप्शन अफेक्ट the way how the data is processed. The command may data stream exactly in the place where it is. And the fourth one is the rejected request should not be repeated until something change in the operating environment. Clear? These are the four points that is covered. Now we have telnet command. Clear? So we have now telnet command. Typically for the terminals directly connected to a computer, are that the keystrokes by the users are immediately interpreted by the computer's operating system. For the purpose, certain keystroke combinations were invented. Here, बहुत सारे जैसे हमारे क्या होते हैं इसमें टेलनेट कमांड की अगर हम बात करें, सो जैसे टर्मिनल्स की बात करें तो दे आर डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड टू द कंप्यूटर्स. क्लियर? एंड they are exactly keystrokes by the जो भी हमारे keystrokes हैं, that is by the users are immediately interpreted by the computer's operating system. Yeah. So so for this purpose certain keystroke combinations were invented. So for example you can say control plus Z. Pressing control plus Z is what? The processing where suspended or control plus C was used for killing current process. तो ये हमारे कुछ कमांड से जो यूज होते थे टेलनेट में, जैसे कंट्रोल प्लस जेड देन कंट्रोल प्लस सी फ्रॉम द कीबोर्ड. क्लियर? कंट्रोल प्लस सी हम यूज कर रहे थे फॉर किलिंग द करंट प्रोसेस, या उसको हटाने के लिए जो हमारा करंट प्रोसेस चल रहा है. और कंट्रोल प्लस जेड इज यूज फॉर द एग्जैक्टली यू कैन से सस्पेंड करने के लिए, प्रोसेस को सस्पेंड करना है, देन यू कैन यूज द कंट्रोल प्लस जेड कमांड. So telnet cannot transmit such codes as they are, since the codes are command containing two keystrokes and do not map to the 7-bit ASCII chart, so used in the NVT. So this requires that the client has to translate the terminus control code to the telnet command and transmit the command to the server host operating system. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just ये देख सकते हैं कुछ हमारे कमांड जैसे नेम्स हैं, जैसे EOF, ये कोड यूज करता है 236, इसका मतलब होता है एंड ऑफ फाइल. क्लियर? SUSP दैट इज यूजिंग द कोड 237, इसका मतलब होता है सस्पेंड प्रोसेस. abort 238 का मतलब ये हमारा कोड 238 यूज करता है, दैट इज abort प्रोसेस. तो ये जितने भी कोड्स हैं दीज आर पर्टिकुलरली असाइन्ड फॉर दीज keywords and they are having their description in this table. Clear? So उनका सबका description यहाँ given है. Okay. So if we talk about telnet for the client server applications, yes, so telnet can be used as a tool set to build the client server applications. As a basic for the application, telnet rarely requires the terminal extensions. टेलनेट हमारा जो होता है वो रेयरली उसको रिक्वायर्ड होता है टर्मिनल एक्सटेंशंस की एंड द नेगोशिएशंस, बट द टेलनेट ऑपरेट्स इन द बेसिक एनवीटी मोड, दैट इज नेटवर्क वर्चुअल टर्मिनल. क्लियर? द एनवीटी इज ए बाई डायरेक्शनल हाफ डुप्लेक्स डिवाइस. क्लियर? which contains a terminal and a keyboard. Basically, the keyboard is the user keyboard. The keyboard produces clients outgoing data sent over the telnet connection to the server. Clear? So our keyboard produces clients outgoing data sent over the telnet connection to the server. The printers is the user's display where the telnet server send the character. So the NVT is hop duplex. So this means that the telnet protocol, either the client or the server has the control. So the control from the client to the server is changed by the CR oblique LF. Here, the server uses the CR oblique LF for changing the line, not for returning the control to the client. So the client receives the control after receiving the data from the server and accepting the go ahead control code. So if we talk about the telnet security now, just wait. If we talk about the telnet security, telnet and security, so since the eavesdropping and the snooping are easy to implement to any machine connected to a LAN, and the fact that the password and the user IDs are sent through the telnet. ये ध्यान रखिएगा जब भी कोई यूजर या होस्ट रिमोट लॉगिंग के थ्रू सर्वर से कनेक्ट होता है तो पहले वो कम्युनिकेशन करने से पहले टीसीपी कनेक्शन एस्टेब्लिश करता है. Then establish होने के बाद it can access that particular server through remote login. So उसको अपना user ID and password send करेगा. Where? Through telnet connection. That is what? Unencrypted. ठीक है? Unencrypted. So if not otherwise required, the telnet protocol is a security risk. So therefore, the telnet protocol defines a option for the authentication. The actual authentication is exchanged in the authentication sub-negotiation. Yeah. So the telnet's
Yes, sir.
authentication option supports such authentication standard like Kerberos, Kerberos, clear SPX, RSA, RSA algorithm हम लोगों ने discuss किया था lock keys and SSA. SSA is what? एक आपने सुना होगा SSS, that is secure shell. Clear? That is also used for the security. Clear? Data security, SSL. तो इसकी हमने एक आपको एक फाइल और शेयर करी थी. This where I am showing you that particular file. Just wait, I am showing you the file. Okay, so now we have the file now. So all of you are seeing this? ये सभी को दिख रहा है? Okay. So if you talk about the remote logging, you can see remote logging is what belonging to telnet. Okay, so it is impossible to write a specific client server program for each demand. So the better solution is a general purpose client server program that lets a user access any application program on a remote computer. Yeah. So जैसे क्या होता है कि हम specifically client server program for each demand, मतलब हर एक की डिमांड पे हम उसको अगर कुछ सर्व करना चाहें, that is very much impossible type system. Clear? So the better solution is what we generalize the system and make a client server program, and that lets a user access any application program on a remote computer. So जैसे we have a remote system where the application data is available and any user can access that particular data from the remote server. Clear? At any time. So it is very much convenient than what we are just assigning for any particular user with the any specific application. You can say on demand. Clear? So it is very much what it is very much, you can say, not convenient method. Clear? So telnet is a general purpose client server application program जो मैंने आपको बताया था. So you can see how the local and remote login takes place. Is it visible to all of you, this diagram? इधर में zoom
Yes,
it.
sir.
So I just zoom it again. So if you see now, I think it is visible to all of you. Clear? So you can see how a remote logging takes place. Clear? So we have a terminal. Clear? Terminal is connected with a terminal driver. So you can see it is connected with the terminal driver. Okay. I think the diagram is clear now. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you can see the terminal is how the local login takes place. Local login takes place. The terminal is connected to the terminal driver into this operating system. Clear? And this terminal driver is connected with the application program. So जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया, कोई भी host है, clear, वो login करके अगर मान लीजिए उसको कोई भी सर्विस रिक्वायर्ड है, तो वो रिमोट लॉगिंग करके, ठीक है, वो किसी भी एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम को यहाँ से एक्सेस कर सकता है थ्रू रिमोट एक्सेसिंग. क्लियर? So this is the major advantage of that. So you can see if I show you the bottom diagrams also. So we have the terminal, then remote logging takes place. So this is the remote login basically. Clear? Remote login में क्या हो रहा है कि जैसे देख सकते हैं आप, we have the terminal connected with the terminal driver, then it is connected with the telnet client. Clear? So telnet client and telnet server will आपस में communicate करेंगे through this internet. Here that is the network virtual terminal through which they are connected to each other. Clear? So the telnet client exactly have TCP IP connection, data link layer and physical layer protocols. So this belong to this telnet client, and then it is accessing their data as well as control connection और data दोनों यहाँ से हमारा establish हो जाएगा. So we have a TCP IP for the connection and data link layer for the data transmission. Clear? And then we have a physical channel also. So we are having internet connection between them, between telnet client and telnet server. We have a operating system over here also. So we have again the same system is reflecting over here, and it is attached with the telnet server, and telnet server is then connected with the pseudo terminal driver here, which is actually connected with the application programs. So it is just accessing the application programs. Clear? From here, यहाँ से आपका application program जो भी है वो सब जो जिसके लिए भी आप access कर रहे हैं, that will be deal with the application program section. Clear? That is connected with the pseudo terminal driver, that is connected to the telnet server. So these are the step by step process. जैसे से आपको process accomplish हो रहा है, you can see. Clear? So this is how the remote logging takes place. So whenever a person or host want to communicate through the remote logging, he just enter your username and password, and then it can log in to the system. Clear? Now, and then access to the particular application. So this is the concept of NVT. You can see NVT की जो मैं अभी बात कर रहा था. So we have a terminal, then we have a telnet client. Terminal और telnet clients जो आपस में connected है. Terminal का मतलब आप समझ रहे होंगे कि where we are just giving the command. Clear? जहाँ से हम command दे रहे हैं, जैसे keyboard हो गया, जहाँ से आप command दे रहे हैं, ठीक है? So we are just using keyboard. So we are having the terminal. यहाँ से suppose हम अगर बात करें telnet client के बीच में जो communication हो रहा है, वो आपका this is local computer, that is the character set. Then if we talk about telnet client to the telnet server, so we have a NVT character set. अभी हमने बताया था आपको कि network virtual terminal होता है जिसके थ्रू client and server आपस में communicate करते हैं. Clear? So we have a network virtual terminal. Then again we have telnet server से pseudo terminal driver के बीच में we have again remote computer character set. Clear? This is the remote login area basically. We are having the remote computer over here. So this is the data character that is transmitted, and this is the control character. Clear? So we have both data as well as control character. ये भी हम लोगों ने डिस्कस कर लिया है. एनवीटी कंट्रोल कैरेक्टर्स कौन कौन से हैं ये देख सकते हैं आप. EOF अभी हमने बताया था एंड ऑफ फाइल. ये आपका डेसिमल नंबर जो हमारा कोड यूज करता है दैट इज 236। EOR इज एंड ऑफ रिकॉर्ड। सो ये सब हमारे कंट्रोल कैरेक्टर्स हैं। इसके बाद अगर हम बात करें इफ यू टॉक अबाउट एम्बेडिंग में देख सकते हैं कि कैसे टाइप्ड एट द रिमोट टर्मिनल, किस तरह से हम लोग टाइप करते हैं। जैसे CAT एंड फाइल AIAC EC एंड देन 1, दिस इज व्हाट, दिस इज द टाइप एट द रिमोट टर्मिनल। क्लियर। ऑप्शंस अभी हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था, दीज आर सम ऑप्शंस। क्लियर। देन NVT कैरेक्टर्स सेट फॉर ऑप्शन नेगोशिएशन। सो विल में आप देख सकते हैं डेसिमल में 251 है। दिस इज मीनिंग इसका क्या है, ऑफरिंग टू एनेबल एंड एक्सेप्टिंग ए रिक्वेस्ट टू एनेबल। दिस इज विल देन वोंट देन टू एंड डोंट। ये चार ऑप्शंस हमारे यूज होते हैं। नाउ आई थिंक टेलनेट इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू। Class, telnet is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we have another protocol that is called as the DHCP protocol. Here, if you see DHCP protocol, it is visible. I think all of you can see this file. Okay, so DHCP is what? DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol. It provides a temporary IP address for a limited period of time. Clear? तो जो हमारा ये DHCP प्रोटोकॉल है क्या करता है, इट जस्ट प्रोवाइड्स ए टेम्परेरी IP एड्रेस, नॉट अ परमानेंट IP एड्रेस, फॉर ए लिमिटेड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। जैसे मान लीजिए हमारे पास कई सारे होस्ट हैं, कई सारे सिस्टम्स हैं, तो वो एक्सेस करना चाहते हैं किसी राउटर से, ठीक है। तो वो क्या करेंगे, अगर उस राउटर से उनको एक्सेस करना है, क्लियर, तो उन सबको एक वी जस्ट प्रोवाइड, अगर वो इंटरनेट के थ्रू एक्सेस करना चाहते हैं तो जस्ट प्रोवाइड एन IP एड्रेस टू ईच होस्ट, ठीक है। और जितनी देर के लिए कम्युनिकेट करेंगे अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल जस्ट प्रोवाइड देम अ टेम्परेरी IP एड्रेस। ठीक है, उनको टेम्परेरी IP एड्रेस दिया जाएगा फॉर अ लिमिटेड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। सो इट हैज टू डेटाबेस बेसिकली। First one has static bindings for physical address, that is the MAC address with IP address. Clear? So पहला आपका है कि static bindings होती हैं for physical address, that is MAC with the IP address. Second one has a list of available IP addresses that may be assigned for a period of time. एक तो तरीका है कि डेटाबेस में कैसे आप उनको असाइन करेंगे। पहला मेथड है कि static bindings करके हम physical address को IP एड्रेस से कनेक्ट करें, मैप है ना, मैपिंग करा दें, बाइंड करा दें। दूसरा मेथड होता है कि अगर हमारे पास लिस्ट अवेलेबल IP एड्रेसेस की, तो हम उनको उसी में से टेम्परेरी टाइम के लिए टेम्परेरीली हम उनको कोई IP एड्रेस दे दें, ठीक है, जितने भी हमारे कनेक्टेड डिवाइसेस हैं, जितने भी क्लाइंट्स हैं, यू कैन से। तो क्लाइंट रिक्वेस्ट टू DHCP सर्वर causes server to see if MAC is in static database. So if so, assign the static IP entries to client if not chosen from the available pool. So assigned address are temporarily, that is the least. When client lease expire, must renew or stop using. ये भी ध्यान रखिएगा, अगर वो टाइमिंग जितने देर के लिए आपको मिला है, अगर उस टाइम में आपका एक्सचेंजिंग नहीं होता इंफॉर्मेशन, then it will be expire, इसको रिन्यू करना पड़ जाएगा आपको, ठीक है ना। इट वाज जस्ट रिन्यू अगेन, अदरवाइज इट विल बी स्टॉप्ड। क्लियर? नाउ इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द एक्सचेंजिंग मैसेजेस, सो इफ यू सी हाउ द मैसेजेस आर एक्सचेंज्ड, क्लियर, सो वी हैव द क्लाइंट विद द पोर्ट नंबर 68 यूजिंग द UDP कनेक्शन। क्लियर, UDP के थ्रू पहले इसने एक DHCP so here you can see if I talk about the first line, so we have the client and the passive open UDP server with the port 67. Clear? So you can see the client is using the 68 port and the server is using the 67 port. Clear? So client ने पहले एक DHCP discover message भेजा इसको सर्वर को, ठीक है, थ्रू यूडीपी कनेक्शन, दैट इज द कनेक्शनलेस प्रोटोकॉल बेसिकली। देन सर्वर ने क्या किया, डीएचसीपी ऑफर मैसेज भेजा। पहले उसने सर्च किया कि इज देयर एनी सर्वर इज अवेलेबल। पहले क्लाइंट ने सर्च किया तो एक डीएचसीपी डिस्कवर मैसेज भेजा कि उसके पास कोई डेटा एक्सेस करने के लिए। सो उसने एक सर्वर को रिक्वेस्ट भेजी या डिस्कवर किया उसने सर्वर को कि सर्वर इज अवेलेबल और नॉट। सो इफ सर्वर इज अवेलेबल then server will find that message and send back a DHCP offer message to the client. Then client will again send the DHCP request message to the server. Now both are exactly, now the we can say the connection is established, तो दोनों में इंटर कम्युनिकेशन हो गया कि नाउ वी कैन एक्सचेंज द डेटा एंड डीएचसीपी रिक्वेस्ट मैसेज भेजा सर्वर को। देन सर्वर ने उसको डीएचसीपी पैक एक्नॉलेजमेंट ट्रांसमिट कर दिया, ठीक है। सो दिस इज हाउ द एक्सचेंजिंग मैसेज टेक्स प्लेस। देन यू कैन सी वी हैव, if we talk about how after the you can see before 50% of the lease time expire, और 50% एक्सपायर होने से पहले, ठीक है, वी हैव अ क्लाइंट, क्लाइंट ने रिक्वेस्ट भेजा सर्वर को, सर्वर ने सॉरी फिर क्लाइंट ने अगेन वी हैव, इफ द सर्वर डज नॉट रिस्पॉन्ड द रिक्वेस्ट इज रिपीटेड। ये भी ध्यान रखना है, जितना टाइम आपको मिला है उस टाइम में अगर आप मैसेज सेंड कर रहे हैं सर्वर को, तो सर्वर अगर कोई रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करता है तो द क्लाइंट विल अगेन सेंड द रिस्पॉन्ड विथ ए negative acknowledgement that the client must start all over again. Clear? So if the server responds with a negative acknowledgement, so the client must start all over again. Clear? So अगर client उसकी तरफ से positive acknowledge नहीं आता server की तरफ से, तो it will again communicate without the DHCP negative acknowledgement. So if the server respond with an acknowledgement, the client has a new lease. Clear? So you can see. एक तरह से ब्रॉडकास्ट मैसेज है, इसीलिए हमने आपको बताया कि इसीलिए जो डिजिट्स है 255 है, बिकॉज इट इज गोइंग टू ऑल सर्वर, नॉट एट इंडिविजुअल सर्वर। So this is a broadcast type message communicating to all. So this a DHCP discover message using this destination server port 67 is sent by the client here. Then servers respond with the DHCP offer message, contains IP address, duration of the lease, which by default is 1 hour. By default it is 1 hour. Clear? So जो भी ड्यूरेशन होता है लीज का, जितने टाइम के लिए वो क्लाइंट को अलाउ करता है एक्सेस करने के लिए, that is around 1 hour. Clear? If the client does not receive a DHCP offer, attempts again up to 4 more attempts in 2-second interval, then waits 5 minutes to try again. 5 मिनट के लिए वेट करेगा दोबारा ट्राई करने के लिए, ठीक है। क्लाइंट चूज वन ऑफ द ऑफर्स एंड सेंड्स DHCP request to the selected server. Yeah, server respond with the DHCP acknowledgement and creates a binding between MAC address and the IP address offered. Client has rights to the IP address until lease expire. Clear? At the 50% of the lease period expiration time, client sends a DHCP request to request renewal. Clear? जैसे ही 50% लीज पीरियड एक्सपायर हो जाएगा, क्लाइंट दोबारा सेंड करेगा एक DHCP रिक्वेस्ट फॉर द रिक्वेस्ट रिन्यूअल के लिए, रिक्वेस्ट को रिन्यू कर दीजिए, ठीक है, अप टू नेक्स्ट 50%. So if the server responds with the acknowledgement, then client is good to go and reset client timers. If the server denies request with the DHCP negative acknowledgement, then client must immediately stop using the IP address and try to find another server. जिस सर्वर से वो कनेक्टेड था, अगर उसने नेगेटिव एक्नॉलेजमेंट भेज दिया कि नाउ आई एम नॉट अवेलेबल टू एक्सेस द मैसेज और कम्युनिकेट द मैसेज, सो इट विल जस्ट सेंड द नेगेटिव एक्नॉलेजमेंट and then the client will try to connect with another server. Yeah. So if no server responds with anything in step 6, so client sends another DHCP request at 87.5% time of the original lease. If no server responds, then client uses IP until lease time expires and then starts from scratch. That is, you can say the client sends DHCP release message to the main server. So this is how the DHCP transition diagram, how the transition may occur. So you can see we have the initialization, then DHCP discover message sending, clear, by the selecting purpose basically, and then we have a DHCP request that is uh, transmitting as a request signal. Okay, then DHCP acknowledgement that is bound, clear. So you can see this process basically. This is the rebinding process. This is also renewing process. So this is DHCP acknowledgement. DHCP acknowledgement is also there. So ये वाला process तब है जब lease time 50% expire कर जाता है, ठीक है? And this is what lease cancelled. So DHCP connection will be released. Clear? So this is the released one, and this is what if less than 87.5% expired oblique DHCP request. So अगर 87.5% expire कर गया है lease time, then it will send the DHCP request, yeah, for rebinding. So this is exactly the you can say जो हम लोगों ने भी steps पढ़े हैं उसी का एक flow diagram. This is the flow diagram of that, and this is exactly the formatting. You can say this is the operation code, hardware type, hardware length, hop count, transition ID. Clear? Then we have just wait, number of seconds, then F. ये आपका एक तरह से फॉर्मेटिंग है, ये DHCP header format कह सकते हैं. Then we have DHCP packet details. So these are some packet details regarding DHCP. So operation code that is of 1 byte field defines type of DHCP packet, that is agar request 1 and reply 2. So this is what? This is the operation code. ये एक ही बाइट का फील्ड होता है जो कि डिफाइन करता है कि किस तरह का DHCP पैकेट है, रिक्वेस्ट पैकेट है या रिप्लाई पैकेट है. हार्डवेयर टाइप की बात करें तो 1 बाइट फील्ड ये भी होता है, इट डिफाइनिंग फिजिकल नेटवर्क. सो जैसे ईथरनेट के लिए सपोज इट इज यूजिंग 1 here as a byte field. So hardware length की बात करें तो 1 byte field specifying length of the physical address. Hop count की बात करें तो 1 byte field, that is the maximum hop packet can go. So client sets this to 0. Then we have transaction ID. So 4 byte field used by the client to make sure server is talking to this client and not another simultaneously request response. Clear? Number of seconds की बात करें तो 2 byte fields number of seconds since client become alive. Flag की बात करें तो 1 bit flag allows client to force server to broadcast reply instead of sending reply to a specific IP address. If client does not know its IP address yet, it wants a broadcast reply from server. Then we have a client IP address, that is 4 byte field of client's IP address if unknown is 0. Then we have your IP address, that is 4 byte field servers fill into tell client the client IP address. Then server IP address, that is 4 byte field server responding fill it into in its own IP. Gateway IP address is 4 byte field containing IP address of the router. Then we have a client hardware address here. So these are the DHCP packet detail basically. Now we have server name, then boot file name, then option field. So you can say this is the option field, tag, length and values. Clear? So ये आपका option field है जो 64 byte field long होता है. क्लियर। इसमें 3 फील्ड होते हैं। पहली फील्ड जो होती है वो 1 बाइट टैग फील्ड कहलाती है, दूसरी आपकी 1 बाइट लेंथ कहलाती है, लास्ट में आपका वैल्यू फील्ड है। क्लियर, दैट इज द वेरिएबल लेंथ वैल्यू फील्ड। यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं वी हैव जैसे टैग फील्ड, अगर हम बात करें टैग हमारा अगर 53 है, लेंथ 1 है, वैल्यू 1 है, तो इट विल बी DHCP डिस्कवर। ऐसे ही सो ऑन, जितने भी आपके रिक्वेस्ट मैसेजेस हैं, they are having the tag length and values. Is there any doubt in the DHCP protocol? And then we have discussed the TELNET protocol. Class.
No, sir.
Okay. So I think the basic concept is clear. Basic concept is clear now. So I think you all have marked your attendance as well. You all have marked your attendance.
Yes.
Class. Class, what I am saying, is it any problem with this topic?
No, sir.
Right. Okay, so you all have marked your attendance in the chat box. Okay, I think you all have done it now. किसी को कुछ पूछना है, they may ask. Up to this point, we have discussed now. Okay, so I just want to tell you that you all may submit the TUT 5 also. Now, most of you have not submitted, and those who have done the questions, so they may upload on the Google Classroom. Clear? Okay, so okay, class, thank you. So I might go for the close
Okay, sir.
of the session. So I think we have covered both the topics. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So in the next lecture, we will cover with the next topic. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.